There you go. Morning, people. Good morning out there. Good morning. Good morning. Start sharing the link. We're getting ready to go on soon on social media. We're on several platforms right now. My lovely wife here. Bam, there it is. Real Raw. Oh, that's on Real Raw. Hopefully it's on. But that's loud.
Are you on YouTube?
I'm verified right now. We have Pastor Johnson here, he's leading, guiding us here.
Yes. Mr. Aaron, okay. Hold on. Let me get yours going. Yes, sir. You want to say something? You want to give the people some wisdom before we start?
So wisdom, I'm just telling people that for the world that you're listening, I know since I'm on your platform, I'm going to share this. It's a very crucial time in the body of Christ. That's what I was sharing a while ago. And beginning this month, it's the 9th month. You're going to see things that you've never seen before. So for those who are very spiritual and tapped into what's going on, can stay doing it. But for those that are not, it's your time to shake up your house and get yourself in order. Yes. It's the time for you to fix yourself and get ready because anything can happen now. Beginning of anything.
The shift is coming, yeah?
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in the kingdom. Things that you have never seen before is about to be manifested. Yeah, don't play with God and don't play with yourself. Don't fool yourself neither. Don't fool yourself neither. Don't think you got it.
He's ready, y'all. He's ready.
All right, back to the show. Fortify yourself.
Yes.
Fortify. That's what it is.
I love that.
That's a good word.
That.
Fortify. That's a good word.
Fortify yourself.
All right, people, start calling your friends. We're on.
Fortify yourself.
Happy Labor Day in advance to all of you out there. And get the word out that the coach and the counselor will have some exciting news to give you in the weeks coming. Work behind the scenes. And we appreciate you guys and let the word go out about what we're doing here. Please get on our formats and write your comments, your points, and we'll be able to read them. How you doing, Minister James? God bless you, sir, for your support.
It's so great.
And I owe you $25 too, sir. So
don't show that man no money.
I'll send that to you, sir.
You better send it to him right now.
I come on the phone. So I will send you the money, sir. But I don't want you to come.
Don't want nobody with money.
I want you to come looking for Pastor later on. So.
Pastor with mad money?
No.
Jesus, that's the whole topic.
Stop making up time to something. Okay.
Well, listen. Contrary to what we preach, we don't tell the whole truth. Okay? You can walk with Jesus and be broke.
Say it again.
You can walk with Jesus and be broke.
Which is not a good thing.
Well, let me give you a good example. Jesus was going into a city to pay his taxes. And he had a disciple with him. They came to the gate and couldn't even enter because they were broke.
And they couldn't pay the taxes.
They couldn't do nothing. They couldn't even enter. And Jesus said to him, listen, Jesus said to him, there's a fishing boat, put your hands there.
That's correct.
And just get enough just to pay your way.
That was it.
That was a good example. He told us that. Fires are holes, birds are nests, but the Son of God can move. We place too much emphasis. And
that's what we should have, right?
Place too much emphasis. And not who it is. And Matthew 6:33 is my favorite scripture.
Matthew 6:33?
Yeah. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And all things shall be added unto you. Philippians 1:19 doesn't say God will give you a want. He said God shall supply all our needs. Yeah. So the wants is excess. And that keeps us going after it.
Yeah.
So when I pray and I got bills, I could tell the Lord, send money to answer my bills. Because the money answers all things.
Yeah. And be careful what you ask for. Because sometimes, just sometimes, we ask for things, we ask for money, we ask for this and that. And you have that extra, overtime at work. And you're like, can I do the overtime?
It's your time. It's your time.
Come on, put the thing on the line.
Let's go. Ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Join us. Courageous conversations, relationship talks, how
Saturday morning, 8 to 8:30 Eastern Time. Radio 1400.
Welcome back to another segment of The Coach.
And the counselor.
We are ready and raring to go.
Yes, let's do it, my love. Let's
It's a
do it.
new month,
Yes.
a new us.
New us, new month, new opportunities. Great things are coming our way.
Yes. So I know he's not on speaker, but I did want you to say what you were saying about a new season. Errol Johnson.
Well, I was just sharing with you about this is a new month, the 9 months, and because we are in this new season, we need to prepare ourselves,
Yes.
fortify yourself. For those of you who are not saved, you need to get yourself ready. And for those of you who are saved, carry on, but make sure you fortify yourself. You know, we're about to pursue and get it all, but we have to make sure we are in the move of God. You can't leave nothing to chance because something big is about to happen, things that we've never seen before. Something's on the right. Things have changed. The climate, the country, the world, the laws, it have changed. So we have to prepare yourself to handle what is to come.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
So in that matter of fortifying yourself, the topic for today is do all things well.
Do it all well. Yes.
Do all things well. So, Counselor, I'm going to let you take the approach on this, doing all things well.
Mhm.
Just give your perspective on that phrase alone. Like, what does that mean for you?
Yeah. Again, when you do things well, is that you learn to not let things be a distraction, because you know you have something to do. And a lot of people right now are not happy with themselves because again they haven't fulfilled a dream that they know God has given them. And so it's doing it well, not doing someone else's dream. This is very important. Not doing your mama's dream, not doing your father's dream. What is your dream that God is giving you to do? Because when you try to do somebody else's dream, you will always find yourself in depression. So you won't be doing it well. I mean, you're doing something, but it's not what God's called you to do.
Wow, you said a mouthful. So if we're not living out our specific agenda,
What's my assignment?
what is my assignment?
Mine, yes.
What is, who am I at my course? Always that goes back to that question. Am I living my truth in this moment with this particular assignment?
And when you don't know your core, you don't know your assignment. When you don't know who you are, when you don't know the steps you're taking, when you know, okay, so this keeps bumping into me, and this keeps on my mind, and this keeps me up late at night, and I mean, that's your core talking to you that the universe of God has given you. But again, we fight that because that's too hard, too difficult. Listen, if you dream it, they come to pass. Do it well.
So the imagery, or the image in the head, an image in the head, meaning also the heart. If there's something there, it could be physically manifested.
Right.
It could be physically manifested. So let's talk about that when it comes to doing things well. You hit on so many points, and I hope we're able to cover all of it. But let's talk about that physical, so that mental manifestation in the brain and the heart, and the mind of the heart.
Let me say,
How do we get that physical?
So prior to marrying you, I had very bad ulcers because I was going through a lot of trauma. My body was talking to me. Okay, my body was saying, this is not what you need to do. And so just like your mind can say the negative, your body also can say the positives as well. But a lot of times we fight because that's unfamiliar to us. It's a journey that we're not used to, and so we fight it.
Why is that? Why are we these humans? So we look at the animals. We look at all the animals and all of their facets. The animals know their role. The animals do what they're supposed to do. Flowers and trees are waving and they're blooming. They do what they're supposed to do unseasoned when they're to do it at all times. What is going on with some of us that believe they are spirit first?
Right.
What's going on with the spirit being or with the human, with the humus mind, that they're not really living out their true
Let me say this to you.
roles?
Let me say this to you. People are used to feeding their flesh, but not their spirit. And if you're not feeding your spirit, feeding your consciousness, feeding the mental part of you, you're not going to be able to fulfill, you're not going to be able to do it well because you're making sure the body is well. But what about the mind? I mean, if the mind is not together, if the mind is not being fulfilled and being fed good things, the Bible says in Philippians, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are just, think on these things. So if I'm thinking on my tragedies, if I'm thinking on my things I'm not proud of, I'm thinking on my failures, then I can't do it well because I'm focused on what I did wrong versus can I learn from what I did wrong. I tell people in my counseling practice, your past is either your teacher or your prisoner. And for most people, it's their prisoner.
So let's talk about that because
Yes, my love.
I know we all have experienced
Yes.
a lot of people that do the human well, and like you said, like the spirit well.
Yes.
Whatsoever you do, whether it's hating, do that well because someone living in spirit at all times, you're doing something great for them. I know when people hate on me specifically, that thing makes me feel alive, but
Right.
you're not tearing me down. I just feel like,
Right.
woo, I feel a little
Let your
10% human
let
today.
your-
This
let your
actually feels
haters-
good.
let your haters be your motivators.
Mm.
Yeah, let people who hate on you and people who don't like you, why are you so focused on them? Because that's what they want you to do. They want you to focus on them so you won't focus on what's called
It's
for you to do.
to get your distraction
They're
off.
trying to get your attention, and here you are on the phone for I just saw somebody on the phone 2-3 hours talking about what someone did to you. Okay, they did it. What are you gonna do after that? Okay, you got to move on. You got to say, all right, great. That means someone's paying attention to me. Let me keep doing more so they can say more
But
out.
obviously, obvious and true, someone did something well. Because if you stop in your tracks to think and probe into yourself.
Yes.
So let's just talk about when people do things well, whether it's hating. Hey, do that thing well. If you're hating, if you're digging in the ground, do it well. If you are lying on someone, do that well because
I'd rather not do the negative well, but I
no,
understand what you're
right,
saying.
but there's always a flip side to this thing. So if you do these things well, if a hater hates well, boom,
You're going to encourage
number one,
somebody.
you're gonna get found out. Number two, because people do things so underhanded and sly.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you're gonna do something,
Okay.
do it well.
Right. So now you're really going deep here because a lot of people are doing things to satisfy others. And so they are cloak and dagger, or they are a wolf in sheep clothing. And so the more you do that, the
Put
more
it out there and hide their hands.
the more you pretend. And there's so many people in this time, it's all about pretend. You get on Instagram, oh, they got that final shot, but it took them 20,000 pictures and a lot of filters to get to that final shot. So they're not really being who they really are. They're not being their something.
Authentic self.
That's your favorite word. You're authentic. You can't do it well if you're not authentic to you. If you're not enjoying it, if you don't want to do it, don't open that door to let that thing in.
Because what can happen? What can happen? What can happen when
Yeah.
we are not true to our core?
You got to be true to you. How can I go to what God has called me to do, and you in your individual life, and you in your married life, or a relationship, but you're not true to you, and so you're not happy. You're totally depressed. You're snappy. You know why you're snappy? Because you're not doing what you've been called to do. You're not being authentic.
You're not who you are at your core. So what are some of the dangers when we're not doing? So let's just take it back.
Pump the brake a little bit, okay?
Let's pump the brakes a little bit. So when people, when haters, when argumentors, when people that throw things and
Throw them
hide
outside the
their
hand,
hands,
yes.
when they do those things well, what happens for others in the positive light when people do things well? Because it is true, you brought it out, like your enemy could be your footstool.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's what the Bible says. But again, if you're not doing what is correct, you'll take your negative and it will squash you.
Well,
Versus,
somebody's got to be doing the double stuff.
but
In
again,
order for I think anything to rise, like to me, and forgive me if I'm decreasing the God, the Allah, but when it came to Lucifer, he did that thing well, which later there becomes that fight of God and
let me say
like
this.
good and evil.
Yeah. So Joseph said in Genesis chapter 50, he said, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So in other words, when people are doing evil to you, you focusing on the evil is not what you need to do. It's like, okay, what is this telling me? Because I tell you, everything that hits you, it's a message.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a message.
Yes.
And what are you taking from that message? If you're taking just, I'm no good and they're right about me, then you're not going to do it. But if you take that message, all right, God, what do you think? Because sometimes Satan is so stupid. He will send you a message that's negative, but in actuality, it was a strategy to get out of what you're going through.
So, but is that God then or Satan?
Well,
See, that's that thin line that
yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is
No, no,
happening
no.
because
This is-
the devil is doing it.
This is something that I believe God is sovereign. So nothing that happens, it makes God say, oh, I didn't know that. I mean, there's not one maverick of molecule of atom that God doesn't know about. All things work together for good. So when I'm going to do it well, I have to say, all right, what is this saying to me? When I went to my divorce, what is this saying to me? A lot of people don't want suffering. A lot of people don't want the negativity, but it's speaking to you. Thank God for pain. Why? Because pain tells me something is wrong.
Because pain, so you see that.
The message.
When
What's the message?
something is there and meant to be, that pain helps us do things well. Pain says, do something different.
Yes,
Pain
this is shift.
says, pay attention to diet, pay attention. So when pain happens,
Yes.
pain does things well. Either
Right.
you're gonna get medicated,
Right.
you're gonna start shifting some things.
Right.
It's probably gonna scare you. Pain does things well.
Again, I mean, the point that is really riding me, what is this saying to me? Because, again, because I'm a child of God, I believe I'm a child of God, what is this message saying? When the cross came to Jesus, that was a message that he's dying for the world, all right? So what is this message telling me? And a lot of times we fight the message versus learning from the message. We fight, okay, no. What is this speaking to me? The authentic me, so I can hear it better.
Yes, so doing things well when it comes to accepting the well part, when others do things well, and then we're going to go into a little bit about when we do things well. But when others do things well, what does that look like for us?
It looks like you are a conqueror. You are more than a conqueror.
When others do things well?
When you do things well, in spite of what people are doing.
So let's talk about when others do things
Okay,
well.
okay,
Like,
sure.
you know,
It encourages you.
for hate, for people that lie,
Yeah,
people that
yeah.
sting us.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go on the flip
Yeah.
side of that and talk about when people do things well as far as love and happiness. But when people do things well as far as hate and disgust and lying and cheating and stealing, when they do that well, what happens to an individual? What happens to a person from a person's point of view?
Again, if that person is not strong, if that person don't have their authentic self, then they will subside to what's being done to them. I mean, to me, life is very simple. I see the negative coming toward me. My point is not to make that lemon, but to make that lemon lemonade. A lot of people don't do that. They just receive the lemon. They receive the bitterness. So they're doing it well, and that's something. All right, we got to come back on the other side.
So yeah, we'll talk about this when we come
Okay.
back.
It's not.
Thank you, James, for your comments, sir. Yeah, we're in it. We're in it. We're in it.
Starting to sweat.
Thank you for coming on. Spread the word. Tell people about it.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. So this is probably going, let's bring it into something. Welcome back. This is the second half. Welcome back. This is the second half. of
Part
this.
two.
Part two. So let's go into, because for me, I love lemon. I love that. I don't have that sweet taste.
Right.
So I have like a very strong, raw, acidic, give me that like bold, brown flavor taste.
I'd rather you stab me in my face than stab me in my back.
Yes.
All right. I want to know who you are, because if I have to keep guessing who you are, that's not good for me. And let me say this on a side note. If I'm guessing who you are, that's a person that doesn't redeem my life. Because I'm doing that, I can't do well. Because I'm always guessing, okay, that's what made me so attracted to you. You are a beauty. I mean, there's no weave. There's no a cake of makeup on you. You are who you are. No matter, so when I wake up in the morning, I don't say, who are you? You are still the same person inside and outside.
So I'm who I am at my core. You hit on something very, very quickly and you just sort of jumped over it. You mentioned something about, I don't know the way you said it, but
Touch it.
receiving something well, or things that you don't receive well.
Yeah.
So let's go into that.
It goes to the point of eating the fish and spitting out the bones. A lot of people don't know how to do well, you have to go through, listen, no one's going to give you Sunnyside, Jamaica, Aruba every single day. That's not reality. That's not authentic. But when you can say, all right, this is good fish, but I got to spit out the bones. Why? Because I don't spit out the bones, it's going to mess up my internals. That's why so many people have been broken and diseased mentally because they didn't take out the negative. They just, no. You have a mouth. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. So if I just receive everything you give me, it's going to mess me up. But if I say, no, I'll take that and I won't take that, that's when you really are able to do well.
So let's talk about things that we don't do well. And I think we must start there in order to begin to ever consider doing anything well. So for those that are now, that you hate well, you don't like well, you criticize well, I'm going to ask all those parts to soften back. We ask those parts to go to sleep, so to our left or our right, and we ask those parts to soften back. What we want to look at in this moment are things that we may not do well, that we may want to do well. And for a lot of people, they go into, well, I want to love better, I want to, attend to my kids better.
Sure.
Let's bring it closer to the self. So, what are a few things that you've seen in the practice, counselor, where people are not doing well, that people can always shape up so that they can do well?
I mean, diet is everything. And diet is not just food, it's your mental diet. We got to do that better. It's learning how to put things down. That's why fasting or intermittent fasting is so powerful, because you're telling yourself, I'm not going to do this so I can get better to know me, who I am, what I'm. But again, we live in a society where people are worshiping themselves. No, let me learn to do a better diet. So I love honey buns. God gave honey buns, praise God. But I can't do honey buns every single day.
And now they have chocolate.
Oh, Lord, tell the devil is a lie. But yet now they have a chocolate honey bun. So these are things that I don't understand what I need. Again, my authentic self. What do I need to feed Temperance? What do I need to feed Portia? Because if I don't find what is good for me, and a lot of people, Coach Portia, are suffering. Why? Because you're eating someone else's diet that's not for you. What do I need to do what I need to do in this new season that I'm in?
Sure. So finding things, looking for the things that you don't do well,
Right.
and then taking that,
And being honest with yourself about it too.
the truth,
The truth set you free.
the truth.
The truth will
Let's
set
go
you
into
free.
that just a little
The
bit,
truth will
because,
set you free.
that's one thing I think society, a lot of times, as a society, as a group of human people,
Right.
we may not do as well. It's truth. Just not even accepting it, telling it, using it. We don't do truth too well.
You want to get on my last nerve, keep lying, keep saying something that's not. Listen, I ain't got time for that. This is a microphone. This is not an elephant. And now you fight me to tell me this is an elephant. No, this is a microphone in front of me. And so when you don't tell the truth, again, I love your word. When you're not authentic, you can't be authentic if you're not telling the truth about yourself. You can't keep blaming, well, they don't like me. No, the common denominator is you, boo-boo. You are the common denominator. So it must not be other people. It must be you all the time.
So what happens when, because now we're going to a little bit of this mental thing, what happens when that is a person's perspective?
All right.
And that is their truth.
All right.
So this is always riding on a thin line about doing things well. And this is, my doing things well may not be your way of doing things well.
So the truth will set you free. And yes, people have their perspective, not their truth per se. It's their perspective. But here's the key.
But it's their truth.
It is their truth. But what is the outcome of your truth? All right. Are you hurting others and hurting yourself? Because you are denying. I mean, for example, if I'm diabetic, thank God I'm not, and I would say, well, my truth is I don't have diabetes. But your body's saying you have diabetes. But my perspective, my truth is, or I'm sorry, black people, we got sugar. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. But my truth is, it doesn't bother me. I can yell, okay, you keep doing that. The bottom line is, the conclusion is that you may say this is my truth, my perspective, but the conclusion is you'll be seeing a doctor more and your body's going to tell on yourself. So again, the truth is, how is this affecting me all over? Because a lot of people are in denial. That's a whole other issue. They're in denial of the truth. You can't do that and expect your body to. I mean, you can pray out diabetes all you want. You got to do what is right.
You got to do some things different.
That's
so that truth, you mentioned something as well too. Truth, we don't do very well. Many people don't do well. Denial.
Big one. Because I don't want to see me.
Touch on that.
Denies. I don't. Again, your authentic self.
So what I'm hearing from a coach perspective is a part that's saying truth always resurfaces.
Yes.
Truth always
Yes.
remains because truth is a great foundation.
It is. And problem is, we bring denial in. No, for example, that didn't hurt me. Yes, it did. That hurt you. Because if I don't understand what's happening to my body and to my mind, what a lot of people don't, it's going to start moving on me. No, that word hurt you. Got it. What we're going to do now? But if I'm denying it, so the more I deny my toothache, the more the tooth gets worse. And people are denying the
And we
truth.
don't do anything
They do
about it.
nothing about it. Zero.
But
Zero.
yet, that toothache is going to
The toothache ain't gonna
do something about
something that my wife says about me. Coach Portia, I'm so blessed and highly favored in Jesus' name, amen. She said something going wrong with my husband's body. He goes to the doctor immediately, and that's the truth. At 57 years old, my body talks to me. I need to find an answer.
You know what? When I first met you,
Yes.
and this is speaking to truth, you had this, if I could bring this out, before we begin to breathe, you have this like acid reflux thing all the time. You were always popping all these pills, and I'm like,
I did.
dude,
I had to change my.
your core is saying,
Exactly.
I'm not accepting, the food is not accepting food.
Yeah. I went to bed with Tums, 5, 6, 7 Tums in my mouth.
Like, what are you doing? Hey, bro, keep this down. We're between all this fried stuff. I'm like,
It's changing. People, hear me. To do well, there has to be a change. You can't stay on this same path. That's why God gives us mountains and valleys. Why? Because He's trying to get you in. It's never a straight line, people. So forget that. There's never a straight line to your goal. God gives mountains and valleys so that you can get to where you need to go.
So doing things well.
Doing things well. That's why.
We're gonna just sort of bring this down.
It's time to breathe now, girl.
Yeah.
It's time to breathe.
Doing things well. There were so many things that came out in this rapid fire conversation in this moment. And some of the things that I heard was being true to who you are at your core. While I may can eat tons of fried foods or fish or this,
Or
that,
spicy
and third, which I can't. But while I can do something, if your body is telling you you cannot do it, be who you are at your core. That is doing you well. When you're able to do you well, you're opening yourself to your truth. When you live you well, I do want to speak to those sitting to our left or our right, or those that have softened back as far as liars, cheaters, stealers, those that do that well, I will let you know, as a mentor, repercussions come to all things. We all must correct things that we've put out in the atmosphere because number one, we're just borrowing this atmosphere time. This time is not ours to give and to be in. We're borrowing this time. So what comes out into the atmosphere, it has to be, because it really is a sacred ground, it has to correct itself. Begin to correct ourselves with being who we truly are at our core. Doing things well for you, accepting that others may not accept when you do something well for yourself. So what does that look like? What does that truth hold and house for yourself? As we begin to breathe, and we're going to take a few deep breaths in and out. Just settling into our truth. Just settling and accepting who we truly are at our core. Recognizing those things that we don't do well first. Bringing those parts forward. Seeing which one of those parts need the most attention in this moment. And asking the rest and remainder of the parts to soften back, just so we can bring attention. Allowing that one to speak to you as wisdom on how you can help it be authentic for both of you. So we treat our parts as individuals. They're a part of us. They help us utilize wisdoms to move forward in being our authentic beings, our authentic selves. So just take 20 or 30 seconds. Just sit with that one that needs the most attention and something that you're not doing well in this moment. Whether it's loving or whether it's practicing discipline with diet, something that you're not doing well. And allow that one to give you that wisdom in this moment on just one avenue on the way you can begin to search yourself out, to discipline that area, to do something well.
And the key word, is discipline.
Yes.
You must stay in a disciplined mentality. When Jesus didn't call his people followers, they were disciples, which is the word discipline.
That makes a lot of sense.
You have to be disciplined in life because these are things I'm not going to do and not going to allow. And many of you listening to us right now, you have allowed people to make deposits and they didn't have signature to your account.
Yes.
And they make deposits, and you need to say, listen, from this day forward, as Pastor Johnson said, we're looking for some great things coming our way, but you gotta change who is depositing in your life, including yourself.
Yes. The authentic being, the authentic self. So with that, obtain your wisdom, take the meat, ask that one to get into alignment until we can speak with it again. And from there we say,
Peace. God bless you, people. We don't have any notes. We let the Spirit of God lead us. Hope you guys see that. And all glory to God and to God. Great show, my love. Great show as always.
thank you. So thank you guys for hanging out with us another Saturday. We have some very special things upcoming in the next few weeks. We are coming into one of my favorite phases, which is autumn. So go out, look at the trees, watch the signature of the heavens signing upon the trees in the atmosphere, and go in love and go in peace. With that being said, do you have anything to say, Nelson?
Be blessed, get ready for your new season. And again, you gotta get ready for your new season to come. And once you do that, you see things greater. Thank God for Pastor Johnson joining us on our show today.
Yes. Thank you for your words. Thank you so much for your words.
Thank you for allowing me.
Any last comments that you want to speak or
It's
say?
not really just listen to what you are saying and believe in what you feel when you
Yes.
just make sure, whatever you feel in your life, that will lead you.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Right? Continue on.
Continue on.
All right, people on Facebook, God bless you. Share this with other people, and
That means get the camera off of me. One love. We'll talk to you guys later. Mwah. Peace.